Mr. Singh, Canadians could be unknowingly supporting these winning MPs. Should these MPs be named?
Now, it's a very important question. In terms of naming the members of parliament that are involved, there needs to be follow-up steps. And the way I would look at it is, and again, we can look at other processes that would make sense. There is information, so I would look at that as something like a confidential informant. So the next step would be to verify that information, to make sure that there's enough to then to lay a charge. And so that's the next step I would say. There should be an investigation to then lay a charge. There is merit when we have other cases where there is pending charges that waiting for the outcome, we presume someone innocent, but waiting for the outcome, those MPs are then stepping away from their roles or stepping away from their duties to ensure that they can defend themselves if it's not true. And if it is true, they're held accountable. So there has to be some steps, is what I'm trying to say. Ultimately, what those steps are, I think we should follow due process. I think it should be done in a fair manner, in a just manner, but it can't be ignored. It can't just be we've got these serious allegations that nothing happens. I'm suggesting next steps have to take place.
Mr. Singh, if you receive this intelligence briefing and the intelligence points to NDP MPs being involved, will they be allowed in caucus and will they be allowed to run for re-election under the NDP banner, even if they are not criminally charged?
If something happens, I'll let you know what my next steps are, but I will take steps. The difference between me and the Prime Minister and Justin and
you just
Chair
said you don't
Poilievre
know what the
is Chair
steps
Poilievre
are.
doesn't even want to know. So he's not even going to look for the information. I'm requesting a briefing. I want to know what's going on. Once I know, I will take steps. And so far, we've seen from the Prime Minister, we don't know if any steps have been taken. He's not said this. He's known about this since March, I think the 22nd of March of this year, and has done nothing. I will take steps if I receive information, and I will let you know what those steps are.
How can you take steps if you can't divulge the information? If you kick an MP out, we will automatically know that's the person who's been named in the report. So how can you take steps and keep the secret?
Well, there's lots of things that can be done. Once I have the information, I'll tell you what my next steps will be. But there are steps that need to be taken. And the fact that the Prime Minister has done nothing and that the Conservative Party leader doesn't want to know, those are both really troubling. I want to know and I want to take steps. And what those steps are, I'll let you know as soon as I'm able to.
So do you think the MPs should only be named once charges are on them?
I think there's got to be due process. And that's why I'm talking about what the next steps are. Ultimately, there needs to be action taken. And the situation as it stands is that there's a potential of members of parliament sitting in the chamber behind me that have been working with foreign governments to interfere in our democracy. That can't go unchecked. That can't go without any follow-up and any further steps. So what those steps are, again, it depends on what is the proper due process.
You don't know what the process is, you said.
Is there enough time to verify the information, to corroborate it, and then to lay charges? What are those next steps? I think that's going to depend on what the information is. But the fact that this government has not taken any steps is what is giving me deep alarm.